what really gets me is how a lot of our people have fallen into the death trap of believing that money is going to solve all of those problems, those spiritual problems, those mental problems that we got. If we can just mask it with money, if we can just, become six figures, or what does Kevin Samuel call it? What does he call it? A high something?
High value.
High value man. If we can just do all of that, then all of our problems would be wiped away. But go ahead, Deacon.
He will. I'm gonna prove what you say is true. I was in club. I just stood in for a few seconds. Sister said, I guess the brother was complaining about the wig they've been buying in the beauty salon supplies. Then she said, your niggas better get your money right. That's why you complaining. Because her mind ain't right. You right what you said. She said, your niggas that broke is not supposed to say nothing about stuff like that.
Yep. See that be the thought process of many of our people, and it it don't change nothing because you can be as rich as you want to. Hell, you can sleep in the money. You can. Some of y'all might be too young, but it was a little cartoon named I think it was Darkwing Duck. He used to swim in his money. He had so much money. He used to swim in his money. Um, but those kind of problems, you can't put those away with money. You can't escape the thoughts of your mind with that type of stuff. Ibuka, are you on?
Yes, sir.
Hey, let's go to Proverbs chapter 11, and I want to read verse 4 real quick.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 11, verse 4. Riches profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivereth from death.
So in Solomon, the wisest man that ever walked the earth besides Christ, let us know that you can have all that money that social media is projecting that you need, and you are not successful. You've wasted your life if you ain't got six figures, if you ain't a millionaire in today's time. God let you know that riches profit not in the day of wrath. That day of wrath be that time when all those childhood memories and your jacked up family growing up without a father. Your mama might have been on drugs. You was raised by your grandma. You was touched or molested when you was a kid. That day of wrath is when those thoughts come up. That money can't do nothing for you. It can't change those things. Go ahead, Deacon.
Yeah, I'm going to back you up what you said. Yeah, the statement you just made, I'm telling you, yo, with all, the people that do have that money, then the people that related to money, they can tell you one thing. One thing I can tell you about money, money leave a void in your spirit. Saying it clear where people can understand. When you have a lot of that thing, they're leaving a void in your spirit. I mean, a loneliness is in your spirit.
I agree to that. I agree to that, Deacon. Especially especially if Christ ain't in you, if the Most High God's laws ain't in you, then there's definitely a void within you. Whether you coming from broken families, money can't fix that thing, man. Because we've seen many people. Hell, a perfect example of it today would be Kanye. Y'all remember when Kanye first came out? Kanye was like, "Oh man, this dude is all right. He got some sense. He ain't rapping about all that crazy stuff." And then when his mother died, and that family bond or that he had all his days growing up, when that was broken, Kanye been the same since. And we all know Kanye. He started talking to white women. He's married white women. He's doing all kind of crazy stuff. He'd be like, damn, Kanye ain't in his right mind. Because that family structure that he had known was broken. Money couldn't change that.
Yeah, man. Then Kanye could have picked any woman he want. Why pick a prostitute?
Right. Mine gone. Go ahead, 504.
Yeah, y'all was definitely hitting on some points. Definitely hitting on some points. If y'all are just joining in, the topic of discussion is Black people and broken families. What's the solution? All right, go ahead and follow us on Biblical Smoke. Also, hashtag Biblical Smoke on Twitter. Let us know your thoughts on there as well. All right, so we got about close to 500 people. So if anybody want to come up,
Yeah,
any brothers.
your boy over there, man. I saw your boy Tim over there. The THEIN. Bring him up, man. That's my boy. You see him down there?
Let me search for him.
Yeah, he's right. He's right. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 line up. Yeah, start all the way in the bottom. 5 line up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see him? Yeah, put your hand up, brother.
He's on stage.
Yeah, he's on.
How you brothers doing tonight?
All right, sir. We doing good.
Hey, what's going on, man?
How y'all doing? Appreciate y'all letting me up. I just wanted to hear y'all out. I wasn't trying to stir the room or nothing like that, bro.
No,
You should have put me out there like that, man.
now you know we cannot leave you in the bottom feeder, man. You have to be in the top feeder.
Yeah, it's a whole lot of bots. I don't know. This must be something new with Clubhouse. All these robots.
That's the same thing I said to myself, man. Damn bots. Elon, get the hell out of here.
But yeah, the topic of discussion: Black people and broken families. What's the solution? We can see a lot of remnants of the effects of broken families. All throughout the Black community. That's why there's a big distrust of our sisters and our brothers. That's why there's, no order with our men. That kind of creates that broken family creates broken people, and broken people don't do nothing but break other people. You know what I'm saying? Like there was an old saying, "Hurt people hurt
People. If you've been paying attention to the news, man, did you see what New York what's it do? Governor Cuomo just announced in New York. Did you see that Deacon or Ibuka?
No, sir.
Yeah, Cuomo, governor of New York, he announced he signed a what's those things that the presidents be signing?
executive order."
Yep, executive order in New York. He said that New York has a gun pandemic. So he signed some executive order to do something with the guns that are going on in New York because it's more people, as he said it's more people dying from gun violence than it is the pandemic now. And that goes into what you were saying, 504, about broken people hurt other people. A lot of times when you see this gun violence that goes on in the Black communities, that is a direct result from broken families in some ways, form, or fashion. And give me that in Matthew 24. Matthew 24, and I think it's verse 12.
Matthew 24, verse 12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold.
There you go. So that's a facet of all that gun violence that we see, and not just New York. It's in Chicago, St. Louis, Philly. I seen a video on Facebook about Philly. It at least 100 fresh graves that was just looked like they was dug earlier that day or the day before. The graveyards is getting like 100 people dying from just getting shot up a day, and it's all black people. But that's coming from iniquity abounding, and then the love of many waxing cold. It's just ain't no love one from another because we growing up in families where it ain't no love.
Mhm. Yeah,
Love in. Go ahead, Deacon.
yeah. You remember the horses, man. You remember that death. A horse was followed in this place. The spirit of death is here, bro.
Yeah. Um. The pale horse. That's what it said. Yeah. Behold the pale horse. Death that followed it. Yeah. That's what's going on, and that's a sign of broken people when you got so much violence and guns and all of that, and it's all over too, man. It ain't just one spot, but that's just a bunch of signs of a bunch of broken people, a broken nation.
Yeah, I saw. I got a news alert earlier that said it was like 230 shootings over this past Fourth of July weekend, with like I think 20 or 30 fatalities. But it was like a bunch of our people that were shot and did a bunch of shooting this weekend on one another.
Yep, that's a crazy thing, and that's that idolatry, and you know, a lot of people wait for them fireworks to go off because you can't tell the difference between fireworks and a gunshot. A lot of times when it's a bunch of them going off, you won't be able to make out the difference. The human ear can't tell the difference. By the time you realize it's gunshots, your ass done been hit.
Yeah, so we definitely want you brothers and sisters to raise your hands. Um, the solutions. What are solutions to black people's broken families? We definitely want to hear you guys' opinions because that is the first sign of fixing our nation. All right, that is the first sign at fixing our nation because that's the first thing that was attacked when we got off the boat. As soon as we got off the boat, what did they do? They got the man, separated him from the woman, separated the children from the mother and the father. They killed the men in front of the mother to show her you have no protection. You have no protection basically in this life. And now the women are looking at us the same way. You know, well, what can you do? You can't protect me and stuff like that. So a lot of that stuff continues to happen. And Willie Lynch letter is definitely real. Brother Marcus, you on stage. How you doing?
How are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I'm over here in Sydney, Australia, man.
All right.
It's
So let me ask you something. What's one reason the black and Hispanic family is broken?
um, from my experience, it has been a strategic dismantling of the mind, of the body, of the knowledge, everything. It was strategically done to us as a nation of people. Uh, with the home, with the confusion, with the language that we've taught. You got a language with one word, it means five different things. That's just total confusion. You got, we as a people, I'm going to say Israel, Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans, since I've been in the truth now, um, we were taught everything opposite of how to succeed and how to live. Everything, man,
Well,
the stuff that I've read,
you said something just
it's,
now. You said one of the things because we want to touch on like a major point. So you said one of the things was the home. So would you care to elaborate on that?
The home, yes. It's total confusion in the home, and our oppression. The America has put everything backwards. The woman is over the man. The man is scared to even do anything because he can get locked up. You can't really discipline your children. Then you got the media, you got television. Everything is programming us to just be like retarded, man. It's just ridiculous, and it's really horrible. It's really bad. It goes deeper than the surface what we think. I mean,
Give me, brother Marcus. Give me one reason that you would say. Hone in on one reason. What's one reason the family's broken? Give me one.
one reason why the family's broken.
Yeah, just one, because I know there's a lot of people that probably got a thought. So, what's your one reason that you would?
There's no guidelines. Everybody's just fishing in the dark to figure out how to do it. And you was beaten a certain way to act, but that ain't the correct way to act. So we don't have guidelines. We don't have rules and regulations. I mean, you say this way, this person say that way, then the government say this way. It's got to be one specific way. And if you don't get it out of the Bible, if you don't get it correctly, the exact way.
Okay, I like that. There's no. So basically, you're saying there's no order amongst us as a people, and that's why families broke.
None. There's too many chiefs. I mean, too many chiefs and not enough Indians. Everybody want to do their own thing. I do my own thing. I don't need nobody to tell me nothing. That's just total confusion.
That's a recipe for disasters. What about you, Thane? What's the one reason you think broken black people and are broken and our families? What's your thoughts on that, Thane?
Let's fast forward to today. All right. You got to look at a lot of things. For one, of course, it's the Lord. You know, when they took the Bible out of the schools, that was the first. And then,
hey, real quick question, Thane. I don't know how old you are, but I don't. Didn't they used to have like a "In God We Trust" Pledge of Allegiance or something in the schools back in the day?
well, they allowed you to pray.
Oh,
they allowed you to say anything religious concerning the Bible. They didn't give no restrictions on that.
Okay. Go ahead, Thane. Finish your thought.
And you know they had to have that because at that time you was able to discipline kids,
right?
And able to do that. So that was the first thing. So now that you took God out of the schools, okay, and then God is not the main focus. So now it starts to break down a lot of different things. So now the next thing you got to see, is education is the number one. And that's what we said before. We had a room earlier just like this. The number one thing you got to look at is education. You must be educated. You must know how to read and write. You got to have the basics. And see, this is what we don't instill. And one thing when you look at it, you got to instill that in your young black men as well as your young ladies, the sisters. And the Lord said that the elder's supposed to teach the younger. That means the elder brothers, the elder sisters. So now let's break it down. Let's go from the man all the way down to the last person in the household. When you look at it from the man, of course, a lot of brothers out here struggling for jobs. But it's a lot of brothers out here that's not struggling for jobs. So it's on. You look at it at both structures. So now you gotta raise your child up from education to learning how to work to take care of his household. You cannot work in the vineyard of the Lord if your household is not in order. You can't do nothing for the Lord if your household is in order. That's number one.
Yeah, that's definitely
Number two, you also got to look at, teaching morals and responsibilities and how to maintain and know what it is when you raise in a household. It's just not for you anymore. It's about your family. And this is what we get off from. When you brothers, everyone on the stage, I don't know if y'all from different cities. We all from different cities, but no matter where you find us, the conditions are the same.
Yeah.
So you teaching your brothers, from your elder brother to your younger brothers, how to take care of his house. Now, what's that? What does That means you need to know how to take care of family. That means you got to make sure everything is taken care of, from your housing to your living to how you raise your children.
Hey,
They
Thane, let me ask some. Hey,
go ahead.
Darius, do you agree with what Thane just said? Like, what do you think is one of the problems in the Black and Hispanic household, Darius?
Um, well, to go off the first guy, he said there's no rules and regulations. Like, that's the most truest thing because a lot of black people, some people would say, or that they join a lot of gangs. And what's like the purpose of that? Provide structure and like a family. So we need to get the family unit back together. Like the black man has been put down at the bottom, like, and we're just falling into the world that they escaped out for us.
Okay. Loose. What do you think is one problem that Black people have broken families?
Shalom. Well, for me, honestly, it's just the absence of knowledge. Why? Because we come from generation of broken families. So it's not a mother to teach to the girl to be a woman and after that to be a wife. If not a man there in the house that teach the boy to be a man and after that to be a husband. If you not learn how to be like that, prepared from Bible with the commandments, you will never be successful in the family. So that is the reason, because the seed of the many just spread around and they are not taking care about their sons because it's not like a priority for them.
So real quick, I hear people saying family and the Bible stuff, but black people been going to church since we got off the slave ship now. So is it what's going on then if the Bible, if they've got the Bible and the families are still broken, we got churches in the black community and families are still broken, what's going on then? There,
Well,
nobody has been able to 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 straighten us out. We there's no blueprint. We are a broken people. We've been destroyed mentally, emotionally, all around. They did a number on us. There's no blueprint to tell us what to do correctly. And everything we've learned was from the slave master and then from each other. And it's all been programmed horrible, man. It's horrible. We don't know what to do. You beat your kids, you do this, you cuss, you swear, everything is just horrible. Because that's all we've been in a cesspool. They strategically put us in a cesspool, and all they've been giving us is crap every day, all day, from TV to music to schools to everything. It's just horrible. Okay.
Amen.
well, my opinion about that too is like example. I have 35 years old. I was went to the church with my family. They are Catholic all the Sundays. But that no means that I knew what really was in the Bible, because I never take the job to take the Bible and really read and understand what was the commandment. So that's different.
Okay. Blessing.
Good point.
What do you think is the main
Benjamin wanted
one
to
of
say something. Go ahead, Benjamin. You wanted to comment on that?
Yeah. I just wanted to go off of what brother Marcus was saying about we don't have any guidance or leadership. Yeah, I agree 100%. We don't. Black people as a whole don't have any leadership. But the thing is, do we really want leadership? Because it looks like when righteous
Let's-
men try to bring leadership to the black community, our people always seem to fight against it. So uh that's the thing. The leadership that we need, our people fight against it. But the Al Sharptons, the Jesse Jacksons, those type of men or quote unquote leaders, they always seem to our people always seem to gravitate to them. They're the ones that's pushed out in society, and those are the ones our people gravitate to.
They
So
those guys are filthy, wicked dogs, all of them.
brother Marcus, I hear you, but That's who our people gravitate to. So when are we going to change that? Or when is our people going to be have the veil removed from their eyes?
Well,
You
I
I'm
keep my blinders off. Thanks God I found IUIC all day, every day.
All right. All right.
can I
So
speak?
Lane said the house is out of order. Lou say that the Bible ain't. Marcus says a cesspool. Darius, what was your thing? You said the reason why the broken families again. What'd you say, Darius?
I was going off the thing. There was no leadership, and yeah,
Okay.
exactly. I agree 100%.
No leadership.
And black people, black men especially, there's really no role model for them to look up to that aren't pushed by the government or whatever you want to say. The same forces trying to hold them back.
Okay.
Can
All
I
right.
can I
Uh,
speak? Is this popcorn style?
hold on, Tangi. We're gonna come to you. You right after Blessing. Let's get Blessing, and then we come to Tangi. If I'm saying that right. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I think one of the reasons why there are so many broken families in the Black community are just there are examples, but as I believe it was Benjamin that said, people don't gravitate towards those examples. There are Black people, are Black leaders who have an example of a good, healthy family, but as a community, we move towards the more dysfunctional parts. And I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe because we need some drama in our life or something. I don't know. But there are examples, but we don't follow those examples. I also do agree with,
So
following the example of the Bible.
real quick, Blessing. So what is the examples that Black people aren't following? Then, if the positive ones that you think are out here in the world that would straighten up Black families.
I think one example that is most recent towards today would be Michelle and Obama. They are I
Oh, not Obama.
Yes, I believe so. They
Hell
are
no.
Why? Why?
No. We're gonna let you finish. We ain't gonna jump on you. Go ahead, sis. You said Michelle and Obama. Why you say them though?
I say so because the way that they treat each other, I don't know what they do in private, but the way that they treat each other and respect each other in public is an example of how we should be respecting our partners in public, how we should be protecting our partners and our children in public and take it into our private lives.
So
That's why I put that.
how do since you mentioned man and woman, so how do Black people treat each other in public there? What you be seeing?
Um, sometimes it depends. It just depends. I think it's um
I got a way. I saw because social media lets you in on the rest of the world that's going on around you. Although we don't condone it, we don't condone slaves or celebrating the independence of America, the white man's independence. We don't condone that here. But I did see on Facebook, it was a little short clip of a video that some Black dude, I guess it was his baby mama. It couldn't have been his wife because she was outside dressed crazy. Couldn't have been his wife.
okay.
He took some fireworks and the ones like you can hold in your hand and put them away from your face and they shoot off into the air. He turned that on her and started shooting her with the fireworks. And the sister is overweight, so she can barely run. But he literally, it was at least 20 shots of fireworks just right in her back, in her chest,
Oh,
her hair
those are
on
the
fire.
Roman candles. Those are called the
Yeah,
Roman candles.
and I saw that between them two. That's one way I see Black people treat each other. We would try to kill each other and then put it on World Star. That's what I see.
Mhm. Yes, I mean that's an example. It's an extreme example, but it's an example. I also think like fighting in public more, like cussing each other out in public and things like that. So
I say one thing too. I see how Black people treat each other and I think it's a sign of broken families. I don't know. Maybe it's different for you, Blessing. You're a sister. I don't know. Black people don't talk to each other when we out and about. We don't say hello, how you doing, what's going
That's
on.
true.
We don't. It's like, hey, don't say nothing to me. You bet not. Think I'm hard. I'm in Walmart in aisle 7 looking for some damn gummy bears, but I'll drop it a dime. I'll fight your ass. That's the type of spirit we be having. I don't know if that's the same you be having, Blessing.
Yeah, that's what I see.
And that's especially up north. Up north, you can't say nothing to nobody. Everybody's angry.
Yep, that's why y'all be wearing Timberlands up north in the summer.
Ready to kick somebody in the ass with the Timbs, with the big construction boots.
I wanted to say one thing. You was talking about Obama. Obama brought back slavery. He put in an executive order that will allow every U.S. citizen to work for no compensation. He put that executive order back in
Oh,
that can require every U.S. citizen to work with no compensation.
I didn't hear about that one.
I didn't hear
I'm
about
gonna send
that
it
one
to you.
either.
I'm gonna send it to you. He
Okay.
brought back slavery. Damn, Obama.
I
Hey,
mean, I understand
yo,
that, but I was just using his family
hello,
example, not his
hello.
political aspects.
Go ahead, E. Go ahead, E.
Hello. I think he fell off.
Yeah.
Now he's
There
right
you go.
there. He's on stage. You can go ahead, E. You might have bad reception.
Hey, while we're waiting for E, can I get a quick script, y'all?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Look at Judges 21 and 24 through 25. This is gonna go back on what Brother Marcus said about the leadership. Just to further prove the point. Watch this.
Call that one more time.
We're gonna read the spirit of black people back then in the book of Judges, and it carries on to this day. Watch this.
Yeah, what's the verse one more time?
Chapter 21, verse 24 through 25.
The book of Judges, chapter 21, verse 24. And the children of Israel departed thence at that time, every man to his tribe and to his family, and they went out from thence every man to his inheritance. In those days there was no king in Israel.
So
Every man did that.
the scripture says, in those days, there was no leadership amongst black people. There was no leadership amongst Hispanic people. Go ahead.
Every man did that which was right in his own eyes.
You can't tell me that ain't black people right there. You black people got a saying, do you, and I'ma do me.
Damn.
That's us right there. That's the spirit of black people right there. Don't judge me. You can't judge me. Only God can judge me. Do you, and I'ma do me. Go ahead, E.
E, are you able to speak right now? If not, we'll come back to you. I think, hey, what you pulled, Benjamin, that goes back to the point of what Darius was saying. Darius said that earlier, where
Right.
he's ain't nobody tell me nothing. There's no order. You do you do me. That's all praises.
Hey, you know what's crazy? Now, when you look at the book of Judges, we were in slavery after slavery, captivity after captivity, because we was doing whatever we wanted to do. And look where we end up when we don't have any leadership, nor do we want any leadership. We want to be our own leader. Like the brother said, there's too many chiefs, not enough Indians. Everybody want to be the top dog. But look where that's getting us. It's getting us slavery. Good. I see Deacon unmuted his mic. I'm gonna mute my.
Look like he fell off. Okay. Hey, all right. So, Blessing, before we move on to Tangi, what was that one reason you think broken families, black people are broken families? What was that one thing again?
Who you
Sister
talking to?
Blessing,
Yes.
what was that one thing again why black people's families are broken before we go to Tangi?
So I would like to sum it up. I would just say common respect for each other and not following leaders who actually who have a functional family unit.
Okay. And your example was Obama and
Yes.
Michelle. All right, Tangi, you up? What's the wrong reason you think black people have so many broken families? Now, we're not saying that every black family is broken. We know we got some families out there like the Cosbys. For all the Cosby haters out there, we know we got some families like the Cosbys out there. But a lot of us come from broken families. What's your thoughts on that, Tangi? What's the reason?
Okay. How you doing? Okay, so my reason would be, I think it boils down to self-love. So, and to elaborate on that, I say self-love and employment opportunities. So the
Okay,
reason
well, hold
that,
on. You gotta pick one now. You can't pick two. Give us
well,
one. Which one you go with?
okay, so I'm gonna really come down to, like, I would say is I would say love.
Okay, all right. So expound on that then. How's that leading to broken families?
When you create a black child and then you turn around and hurt another black person, you realize the people around you are a reflection of you. So if you will easily hurt a person around you that looks like you, got your same features, your nose, your eyes, your skin tone, your hair, you putting them down for these reasons. You don't like black women, she don't like black men, you talking crazy to your child and things like that, then that means that you have a negative outlook upon yourself. So because you're whenever we say something towards somebody else, that's usually a reflection of how we feel about ourselves. That's like psychology 101. So when people do these things and they take their anger out on other people, it's a reflection of, it's a response to how we've been beaten down for so many, I would say, centuries now, which cause us to not feel good about ourselves, and we don't have anyone to take it out on besides the people around us.
Good point. Good point, right?
That look like this.
So, Tangi, you saying we can't take it out on the dominant society. So basically, we take our frustrations out on the weakest people we know, which is each other. Would that be a fair assessment of what you're saying?
Definitely. And in addition to that, I mean, it's natural for people to attack those around them. So then you may think, oh, well, white people treat us better. Well, no, they're not even relativity to you. You're not around them to know how they are or will be.
That's heavy right there. That was a heavy point right there.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Tangi, it's funny that you just said that about a lot of us think white people treat us better. I had 3 sisters just this past Saturday, which is the Sabbath, tell me on the street that white men treat them way better than black men. So to your point, you just made an excellent point about you're not even really relative to them. They're not around you for them to they got you redlined in the ghettos of America for the most part. So the people around you are your own people that you are frustrated with. They're frustrated with you, and we take it out on each other. So that was a good point, sis. Me and my mic.
Like that. Let me read a scripture here real quick, Tangi, before you followed up on that. Cause what you said is actually biblical. It's in the book of Ecclesiasticus, which is in the Apocrypha. It was in the original 1611 King James. For those that may not know, if you ever bought a 1611 King James off Amazon, it will have the Apocrypha in it. But modern Bibles, they took it out. I think it was the Protestants took it out for whatever reasons. Read that in Ecclesiasticus 14 and read verse 5 and 6. And listen to what this say, Tangi. Read that.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 14, verse 5. He that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? He shall not take pleasure in his goods.
That's heavy right there. It says, he that is evil to himself. That goes into him that hates himself, that don't have what? Self-love. He that don't have self-love, whom will he be good to? He won't. Because why? He don't know how to He don't know how to what's that word, project. He don't know how to project that out of their own spirit unless it is for their own self gratification. You know, everybody know how to love when it's time to get down in the bed, but just if it don't benefit them, a lot of people don't know how to project love towards somebody else. Why? Because they evil to themselves in whatever way it may be. Now read verse 6.
Verse 6. There is none worse than he that envieth himself.
God said there's none worse than him that hates himself. See what's up now? Now, just thinking about that, just bringing it up to the society that we live in. Not saying that all black people in all black neighborhoods is bad, but a lot of them are. Now we see why it is so much crime and violence and non-love one towards another. We don't even speak to each other on the street, and we grew up this way. It says, because there's none worse than him that hates himself. God says when you hate yourself, you worse than the damn dogs that you are above, because even dogs got love one for another. Animals got love one for another. God says none's worse than him that hates himself. Read on.
There is none worse than he that envieth himself, and this is a recompense of his wickedness.
It's a recompense. It's a repayment for your wickedness. So God, what's God saying? The more evil you do, the more you begin to hate yourself. Damn, that's heavy right there.
That's a cold precept.
Tangi, you wanted to respond before we went on to D'Angelo?
Yeah, I would just like to say I truthfully believe that. I see that to be true. So when you state the man with the fireworks and shooting the woman, that should never feel okay to do, ever. And it's being pushed, this agenda. I wouldn't say that we're doing it, but I would say so many people are messed up from what has happened in our society. So I agree with other people when they stated that the things that has occurred has really gotten us really messed up. And when you first asked me what is my one thing, I did mention employment, just because when I thought about love and everything like that, we can't fix, it's harder to fix the mental health issues if you don't have money to do it, if you don't have money to see a psychiatrist or get the proper foods in your body and things like that. So employment is very important for us as well.
Now, Tangi, I'm gonna push back some on that because you said money and therapy and all of that stuff. Now, how much does the Bible play in a part to mental healing and learning to love yourself, in your opinion? How much does the Bible play a part in that?
The Bible is a spiritual book, but the Bible also states that the Bible should be also written inside of you. So therefore, it should be within a person. I always suggest the person to go within. However, I still think that there's things outside and people that are in places that may have that spirit to help you, because everybody is not helping themselves. But I think the Bible plays a big part, but I don't just think the Bible is just what we read, because when Jesus was here and he was speaking, he didn't have the Bible. He had and when he left, it was the Holy Spirit is now supposed to be inside of you. So you should be able to go within because God is within you.
Okay, all right. We can touch that later. I mean, because I know it's a lot of brothers that got 100 precepts thinking that, but that's what you know for now. So we'll leave it there, and we'll come back to that later. D'Angelo, you on? D'Angelo, you there? D'Angelo Brandon going once, going twice, and okay, there you
Yeah,
go.
I'm here.
Okay, so real quick, D'Angelo,
I,
welcome to the stage. What's your thoughts? Give us a reason of why black people have so many broken families in today's society, especially when it's so much, as Tangi was saying, she alluded to, it's so much access to possible therapy. It's self-help books out there. There's motivational videos on YouTube. Why so many black families still broken today? D'Angelo, we can't hear you.
Because they don't follow the commandments. Because they don't follow the commandments.
So elaborate on that. What does that mean? Hey, is that me or is there anybody else can't hear him?
D'Angelo might have an Android. I don't know. He in and out.
Like an iPhone to me, y'all.
Who, me? Yeah, so it basically tell us.
I'm not definitely like an iPhone.
Hey, we
Hello?
can't hear D'Angelo.
D'Angelo, you got an iPhone?
Yeah, I got an iPhone. Hey, they come back to me, guys.
That's what I thought, bro.
All right, we'll come back to D'Angelo, cause he said he said iPhone, but we know that's really an Android.
Bruh.
That
He got an iPhone, bruh.
Hey, he got an Android. He got an Android spirit.
Yeah, his phone is unclean right now. Hey, brother Michael, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, there we go. So what's your thoughts on it, brother Mike? Give us a reason. Give us a reason of why we got so many broken families in 2021 in the whole expanse of knowledge with the internet at our fingertips. Why are families still broken?
Everybody's covered so much, but I think I would have to point to assimilation or integration. I think that's the main reason why black families are so-called broken today. And what I mean by that is at
Now,
a point in time.
hold on, before you go into that point, Mike.
Okay, all right.
In what you said assimilation and integration.
Yeah.
That's a difference in those two terms. Which one have black folk fallen into? Have we assimilated or have we've
fallen into assimilation? We think that we've been integrated, but we've just been assimilated.
Okay.
So I think that's probably the biggest problem, to sum it all up, with why black families are broken, because we want to become like our own oppressors. We're basically dark versions of our oppressors.
What do you mean we want to become like them? Because you said assimilation has destroyed the black family. So what way have we assimilated, destroyed them?
Well, we've actually cast off our own values, and allowed ourselves to be assimilated in their society and took on their nature. The very nature that they portray is destructive to the black community. And what I mean by that is it's things that they can do in this society and get away with it, but just a whisper of it would get us criminalized. And if you want to look at it a little deeper, it by us assimilating with them, we've actually broke the patriarch order in our homes, and that's where everything starts to fall apart. And we no longer have that by assimilating with their society. We no longer have that head in our house of the strong male role. And then you have the wife that's there to follow and bring up the kids in that manner. We've gone to this free for all the same way these other nations do, but what worked for them don't work for us, and that's what the problem is. When you look at Black Wall Street was a strong, thriving community when everything was segregated. Even after they burnt Black Wall Street to the ground and they went back in there and rebuilt, what actually destroyed Black Wall Street was when they started integrating the societies, and then black folks wanted to go out and do as the very people that oppressed us do. And that's when the black family starts falling apart, because they were able to get in through that weakness and remove the man from the home. It allowed them to get hold of our kids and start teaching our children the way they wanted to teach them once they got them into the schools, and it just destroyed the whole structure and the whole.
So you saying assimilation has destroyed black families today cause we shouldn't, it ain't meant for us to live like them.
No, our strength is in our righteousness.
Okay.
We can't go throughout the earth because we're just a different, our strength is in our righteousness. We get our power, our strength from the Most High when we are righteous. But we look at the other nations and we see how they live, and we see the things they do, and we covet those things. We want to do as these other nations, and therefore we're willing to, I guess, so to speak. I'm trying to think of a good word.
We'll betray one another to get
Exactly.
like
That's, there you go.
Okay.
Hey,
We
to
have
Z's point,
been trying to
hey,
honor
Z,
among these thieves. These people are thieves. The whole world of thieves, and we trying to have honorable, upright lives, and we trying to do that. That's impossible because it's not set up. It's all hell on this earth. It's
hey, Z,
all wrong. It's
Okay.
all wicked.
hey,
Benjamin, you wanted to respond?
yeah, Z, to your point, you said we'll betray one another. It's funny that you mentioned that because we just saw that today and yesterday with this whole. I don't know if you guys know. There's a ESPN um, commentator named Rachel Nichols, a white
Yeah,
woman.
yeah, the
The
white,
white
white
redhead.
girl with the red hair.
She just got caught talking all kinds of mess about one of our sisters that's up and coming in ESPN, who is a very
Yeah.
white supremacist organization itself. And she had the white lady, Rachel Nichols, had two brothers cones on her show when she made her apology because she was found out on the
Uh,
she was secretly recorded or the mic was hot
right. Yeah,
and she didn't
hot
know
mic.
how to work the equipment. And she had a hot mic and it got recorded when she was talking all this crap about this sister. And the brothers went ahead now and defended her more than she defended her damn self.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very sickening the way we treat each other. Uh, um, and then you had a brother named Stephen A. Jackson. He used to play basketball. Matter of fact, he was kind of got a little more popularity in the George Floyd situation. The basketball player that was friends with George Floyd. He was trying to get justice for George Floyd and things of that nature. The brother first went on and was saying how Rachel Nichols is wrong and this and that. 20 minutes later, he comes on and gets on the black community for supporting the woman who Rachel Nichols was talking crap about. So it just shows we will betray one another at the drop of a dime for these people,
Hey, we
man.
see
So
we've hey, go ahead, Dion. Go ahead.
I just wanted to add to that point. I believe it was Brother Michael and then Brother Marcus both chimed in. Brother Michael mentioned about assimilation earlier, and the Bible actually records that. If I could just pull one scripture, ZB Real, if I just had 1 second to pull a scripture, Micah chapter 2 verse 10, just to go with that point, and like Benjamin brought out about how basically our brothers that have a covetous spirit will be quick to betray their people to make sure that they can continue to line their pockets. The Bible talks about that, about how we will come one with this nation and with our oppressors and what it would actually do to us. And we can read that real quick. Micah 2 and 10.
Micah chapter 2, verse 10. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. Because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction.
That's the Bible. The Bible says, read it again, read a little bit slower for me.
Arise ye and depart,
So the
for
Bible
this
says,
is
the Bible tells us to arise and depart. When it says arise and depart, of course, it's not telling us to leave the United States of America, because we understand that our oppression stems way further than just in these borders, right? It goes to Mexico, Canada. I've lived in France. I've lived in Israel. I've been to Russia. The oppression is the same. Maybe not to the magnitude of what we see here in America, but the stares you get, the way you're treated, the way you're talked to, the way your children are treated is the same. The way you're viewed in societies in these other countries is the same. So the Bible says that we should arise and depart. What does it mean? Arise and depart. Leave the ways of this place. Leave their holidays. Leave their religions, right? Love your neighbor as yourself. Learn to come together with your brother. Stop hating on each other's business. Build each other up in our communities. Love our women and marry them, right? Take care of our children. Sister, stand by your black king. You understand? And support him like the scriptures talk about. That's what it says, come out of it. Come out of it or depart. So it says, arise, depart. Go ahead.
For this is not your rest.
When it says this is not your rest, meaning the American dream that we all have fantasized about and want to live, it has destroyed our people. Just think about it. This is the reason that a lot of our people go and get an $100,000 education, spending, and I'm not saying you should go to college, by the way, but I'm just saying it's amazing how we will go and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars that we don't have in student loans and be in debt till we're in our 60s. I know people that have just paid their loans off, student loans off in their 60s and 70s. It's incredible the amount of debt that we're in to get a $200,000 education just to get a $40,000 job. If that, that's not even able to make ends meet, because many of us don't get our degrees in areas that can benefit the world. We get our degrees in things that sound good, communication degrees and so on and so forth, right? These are not things that sustain the world in the sense that where we can be able to create wealth for our generations through it. So the Bible tells us this is not our rest. That American dream that's been sold to us is something that has destroyed our people because we continue to try to chase after it. This is why we rob each other in the streets. We want the American dream. We want the money. We want the wealth. We want what our oppressors have. Right? Go ahead.
Because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with a sword destroy.
So God says if we join ourselves to these nations and we follow their ways, it said this place is polluted. How do we know this place is polluted? It's the only place that in the world where you have to monitor, or well, not I'm saying only place in the world, but I'll say in these last days, you literally have to watch everything that your children are consuming when it comes to their spirit. You got to watch what they're watching on television. You got to watch what they're listening to in their music, what they're looking at on YouTube. If they got iPads, you got to put parental guides on it. All these things. Why? Because this place is polluted. You got to be careful to leave your house at night. You might get robbed by your own brother. You might get shot down by a white police officer just for reaching for your ID in front of your daughter in the back seat. Like, this place is polluted. That's what the Bible says. So it will destroy us with a sword of destruction. So that's why God is telling us that assimilation and the mindset of our oppressors, we got to come out of it.
Good points. Good points there. All right.
Hey, yeah.
Let's move. Who that?
Yo, hey, what's going on?
Oh, E.
See,
Go ahead, E.
Hey, what's going on? Yeah, I want to jump off of what Dion just said as well scripturally as well before everyone goes ahead. Real quick, just give me 2 Maccabees 4, real quick. Verse 12. Reason being is we mentioned earlier. I'm going backwards. We was mentioned earlier about how Sharpton these leaders. I think Benjamin was mentioning how a lot of black folks complain about wanting leaders, but they don't want to be led. And the leaders that we do rely upon are even leaders. Like I think Malcolm X made a point years ago. He said we're the only people in the world that will have clowns or comedians or actors and actresses portray leaders for our people, our representatives as a race. Other races don't do that. You don't see like country singers or freaking weatherman white folks portray themselves as the leaders of white folks. White folks have leaders, actual leaders over them that speak on behalf of them. While black folks have all kind of comedians and actresses and ball players that are somehow leaders. So it is very true that black folks will complain about leadership, but don't desire to be led. All right, so I want to read something real quick just to show. Because I heard also Al Sharpton was mentioned. Someone said he was terrible, which is true. Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, Fred, and a number of them. These guys who are pretty much a waste of time, who we deem as leaders. Real quick, read this real quick. First Maccabees 4, verse 12. This is a man named Jason. A man named Jason. Matter of fact, read verse 10. And then we're going to skip down to 12. But this guy his name was Jason. He was what you call a coon. And he basically was heavy assimilating his people into a Eurocentric fashion or culture of that time, which is the Greeks. America pretty much is an extension of the Greco-Roman Empire. So the same kind of fashions that were pushed during this guy's time are pushed even now. So read that, please.
Second Maccabees, chapter 4, verse 10. Which when the king had granted, he had gotten into his hand the rule, and forthwith brought his own nation to Greekish fashion.
Right. So this guy Jason gained status. He gained status, and he got permission from the white man, of course, to gain this status. And with this status he gained rulership. He brought his people into what is known as his own nation, his own race, into the Greekish or Eurocentric fashion. Okay, because a lot of our people, one of the tools that's used against us, I believe Dion mentioned earlier about the spirit being corrupted and polluting, is fashion. A lot of the fashion that's changed over the course of the years in terms of our brothers and our sisters, how they dress now compared to how they dress back then. You examine the 60s, 50s, 40s, the sisters had a bit more respect for themselves in terms of modesty. Whereas now, the more ass you show, the more breast you show, the more provocative you are, the more popular you become. Men as well, shirts off, skinny ass pants, hair blonded or shaved off, clean shaven. All this goes back to the Greek fashion. Being clean shaven, go back to Egypt, where you would shave everything off and so forth. Cross dressing goes back to Egypt as well, Greece as well, Rome as well. Because that's an expression. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. That's an expression. And the same thing goes for America. So read on, jump down to verse 12, what Jason did. Read on.
Verse 12. Verse 12. For he built gladly a place of exercise under the tower itself, and brought the chief young men under his subjection, and made them wear a hat.
So he built a gym. He got them involved in sports with another outlet that's also used as well to influence our people. And a lot of times, in a negative manner. He brought them into Olympics and had them wear a hat because they wore the hat of Hermes, which goes back to the Flash with the wings on the side, the little cat with the wings on the side. That's called they wear a hat. They wore sports memorabilia. Read verse 13. Watch this.
Now such was the height of Greek fashions, and increase of...
So this is now such was the height of Greek fashion. Because under the Greeks, they were naked. Basically, you walked around, you wore a hat, they were butt naked. So nakedness, or the term gymnasium literally means a place to be naked. That's what the word gymnasium means. A place to be naked. So nakedness was heavily admired. And the provocativeness, showing genitalia, all that stuff, or nakedness was heavily popular in the Greekish fashions. Likewise, even today, naked women walking around, men walking around, shirts off, women walking around, breasts out. All that stuff goes back to the Greco-Roman fashions of then. It is now been translated into America, which is an extension of that empire. America is an empire. You can say what you want. America, that's why they call New York. That's why they call New York the Empire State, because it is a city within an empire. So America is an extension of that empire. So a lot of the fashions of the Greeks, where nakedness was heavily pushed and as a fashion, the same it is now. So it says, read again, 13.
Now such was the height of Greek fashions, and increase of heathenish manners.
Stop, right there. And it says, and the increase of, so out of the fashion comes the increase of heathenish manners, meaning behavior, because the fashion plays a role on the behavior. That's what happens. So how you appear, or how you dress and how you behave, your appearance and your attitude speak for you. You can say nothing, but your appearance and your attitude, whether it be for a man or for a woman, you got tattoos on your eyeballs and your nose and face and tongue going for a job interview. That's retarded. Your appearance and your attitude speak for you. Walk around with your behind out, breasts out, thighs out. You may be a classy sister with a brain, smart, educated, or the degree, but when the men see that, believe it or not, when they're looking at you saying, wow, look at them titties. She's surely smart. Look how tight, look how thick that ass is. Wow, look at the knee skirt. Wow, she's smart. That's how we're thinking. So appearance and attitude, whether male or female, speak for you. So in this instance, the Greekish fashion led to heathenish or pagan or wicked behavior. That's why old man walking with young thug in a damn dress, Kid Cudi, I can't, there's so many now. All these
what's that one dude that be kissing boys?
A freaking diamond being implanted into your forehead, look like a nigger version of the Avengers, nigger vision, things like that, things like Mission. I call them Mission. Things like that. That stuff right there is heathenish manners. So read on, continue.
Now such was the height of Greek fashions and increase of heathenish manners, through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, that ungodly wretch and no high priest.
Right, so he was an ungodly wretch and no priest. This is Jason. This is the guy that was behind the influence of Greekish fashions. He got power, he got money and influence, and he used it to further assimilate his people into the Eurocentric fashion. Read on, watch this, 14.
That the priest had no courage to serve any more at the altar, but despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, hasted to be partakers of the unlawful allowance in the place of exercise, after the game of discus called them forth.
Right, Olympics. The game of discus is Olympics. Jump that, read on. Verse 15, watch this. So he enters our people because of him integrating our people into European society. We begin to despise and neglect our own heritage, our own culture, our own biblical duties that God gave us. We said, the hell with that. I want to be a Greek. Or today, I want to be American. Or I want to be Eurocentric. Like, well,
I have a
I
quick
don't
question.
want to ride the black buses. I want to ride the white man's bus. I don't want to be in the black man's bathroom. I want to go into the whites only bathroom. I don't want to ride in the black bus. I want to ride in the back of the white bus. I don't want to go to the black bathroom. I'm gonna go to the white one. I don't want black ice because white man's ice is colder. This is what Jason was doing. So read on, read verse 15, 16. I'll wrap it up. Go ahead, read on.
Not setting by the honors of their fathers, but liking the glory of the Grecians best of all.
Right. So we begin to hate and despise our own ancestors, our own Gabriel Prosser, Denmark Vesey, the Maroons, Garthus Garvey, Malcolm. We said, the hell with them. What about the Kardashians? Or what about Scarlett Johansson? Or what about what's his name? Whoever. What about them? Let's worship them. Yeah, Brad Pitt, let's worship them. They're beautiful. They're pretty. Look at her blonde hair. Look at their pale skin. Look at their eyes. I'm going to get contacts to match hers. I'm going to bleach my skin. I'm going to perm my hair. I'm going to blonde my hair. I'm going to blonde my hair as a man, too. I'm going to wear skinny-ass clothes like they do. Because that ain't their style. That's their style. I'm going to fall behind them. This is what we do. So we don't watch you begin to like the glory of the Grecians and their culture and their heritage or Eurocentricity. Best of all. Watch this. Almost done. 16.
By reason wherefore sore calamities came upon them.
Right.
For they
sore calamity goes back to the George Floyd. Sore calamity goes to the Mike Browns. Sore calamity goes to the Emmett Tills. Sore calamity goes into the Eric Garners, the Freddie Grays. That's the sore calamity because the same people we want to be and look like are killing us and get away with it. That's the irony behind it. We'll sit there and want to dress like them and buy their clothes and buy their bags, which is of no value. They were 25 cents in Vietnam. That's how much the bags are worth when they make them, but they're somehow worth $500. So we'll sit there and go, Black Lives Matter, but we'll put black money in the white pockets, which I find hilarious. Buying bags because a white man's name is on it, who doesn't give a damn about black communities or has probably never been to one, but we support them. So going back to what Jason was heavily behind us assimilating us into Greco-Roman culture as it is today. If you don't watch this, read more time, 16.
Verse 16. By reason whereof sore calamities came upon them, for they had them to be their enemies and avengers.
They were our enemies and they were our avengers. Read on.
Whose customs they followed so earnestly, and unto whom...
What's their custom? New Year's, Christmas, Thanksgiving, 4th of July, Halloween. These are their customs. These aren't our customs. We'll go out and we'll bust our ass at something 4th of July. Were we independent during that time? No, but we celebrated. So we follow their way. We follow their way so earnestly, their customs earnestly. But watch this part. Why? Read on.
And unto whom they desire to be like in all things.
And unto whom they desire to be like in all things. How they look, how they dress, how they speak, where they live, their men, their women, their hair, their eyes. We desire to be like them in all things. Their customs, their philosophies, their fashions. We desire to be like them in all things. And that's why I said sore calamity fell upon us, because that's why we can't get nowhere. Because we want to be like the enemy, but at the same time, we want the enemy to be nice to us and respect us. No, it ain't going to happen. Send me my mic. Thank you for your time.
Now that's what I was talking about. Z hit it dead on the head. That's what I meant by
I
we've
have a quick
assimilated.
question. Where was that being read from?
That was Second Maccabees 4. That's part of the King James Version Bible. It was it was removed. It was the Greek captivity that's left out of the Bible. That was removed in the 1800s deliberately because it points to who was ruling over us before Christ came on the scene and after the Persians. So it was
Okay.
so it was Greek captivity.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Yeah, you said y'all
Can
just read
I
1611 King James. Yeah, go ahead, Ted. You wanted to say something? You got a minute. Go ahead.
Okay. And when you mention people needing a leader, there's a part in the Bible that talks about that as well, about the Israelites believing that they needed a leader. And when the Lord, God is our leader, so they ask for a king and they go over what would happen when you have a leader. So I just want to pull that up so everybody can look it up on their own. But it's 1 Samuel 18, since I only have a minute.
Okay, let
It's
Ibuka read it for you, sis. Go ahead. Ibuka, read it for her.
1 second.
I think you mean First Samuel chapter 8.
Say it
That's when they
again,
wanted
Benjamin,
king.
for her.
I'm pretty sure it's First Samuel chapter 8 when Israel wanted a king.
Is that what you're
Before.
talking about, Tangy?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I believe so. Chapter 8 or 18.
Okay, let's read it for
It's
Ibuka.
chapter 8. Chapter 8 is in front of chapter 8 with Samuel.
Yep.
Chapter
Yep.
8.
Sorry.
Look
Chapter
around
8.
verse
1 Samuel chapter 8 and verse 4. Then all the elders of Israel gathered themselves together and came to Samuel unto Ramoth, and said unto him, Behold, thou art old, and thy sons walk not in thy ways. Now make us a king to judge us like all the nations. But the thing displeased Samuel, when they said, Give us a king to judge us. And Samuel prayed unto the Lord. And the Lord said unto Samuel, Hearken unto the voice of the people in all that they say unto thee. For they have not rejected thee, but they have rejected me, that I should not reign over them.
Okay, go ahead, Tangy. What was you bringing that out for?
The reason I bring that out is because I believe, well, okay, the reason I bring that out is because God is within us. And that part is something to mention because that was when they asked for a king and they go in further about what would happen when you appoint a king. So while you have a leader, the Lord is our leader. And if you just don't go based upon what I say, but go based upon what the text say, I just want people to read that on their own and see what it says there so they can get the understanding of it.
Okay. Now, with that being said, though, Tangy, even with that, that being said, Samuel, even at that time, Samuel was their leader of the people at that time. The reason why God was angry with them is because at that moment is because the people wanted a king to guide them instead of God to even have any input. That's why it says where it goes into a king like all the nations that are round about us. If you know the historical context of things during that time, the people used to see kings as gods. Like Egypt, they thought pharaohs were like deities or gods on earth, things of that nature. So the reason God was mad at them having a king is because they wanted to listen to the king instead of God. But even in this context, Samuel was a leader that led the people in the way that they should go. And even when you go back a few chapters, you'll see that there's a whole book called Judges. And all of those judges were leaders to the people at that time, too. So just putting it in context is that's the reason why God was mad at the people.
And
But
also,
go ahead, E.
I also remember, and after Judges, you're in the book of Samuel. After that, Samuel he has two books, I believe, because
Yeah.
they used Samuel's sons went off. They were being wicked toward the people, so they used Samuel's wicked sons as an opportunity to seek a way to avoid being led by men in general because of the wickedness of their sons. But they had elders; they always had men over them. God set Moses over them, and they were mad at him. God set Aaron over them. They were mad at that. So Israel just want the five body of their nations. It wasn't about being led by even the king. They want to have they didn't want God over them at all. That was their whole premise of why they
Right.
complained about that. But they always
Right.
had men over them. Even after you read this complaint in Samuel, they had men over them even afterwards. Like the Maccabees, you had David, Saul. David was a righteous man after the Lord's own heart, and Solomon as well. So these men were kings. So despite their complaint was not the Most High knew Israel's heart was basically that the desire of the king, so that he wouldn't reign over them. That was the reason they wanted the king, not for righteous reasons. But Israel always required to have a man lead over them. Even the Messiah himself is considered to be a shepherd. His people are the sheep. Israel always required a leader. Always, that's inevitable. There's no such thing as a people leading themselves. That's never happened in history where people just say, "Hey, I'll lead myself," and it is prospered. Every nation on earth, from the ancient times till now, always had leaders that heads over them to walk around and say, "I need no one. I'll just lead myself," or God will lead me around by myself. That's not historical. It's not natural. It's not biblical. All right.
That's why we have this topic tonight, because we have no leaders. A bunch of brothers have said it earlier.
Yeah,
We don't have no leaders.
like I
We
said
don't have no
before.
rulers.
Real quick before we moved on, just to clarify that there was always people that were set over the people to lead them, and that just goes into, just to help you out, Tangi, at that point, that was what the people wanted. They wanted a king instead of God, so they can listen to him instead of God. Numbers chapter 27, and let's read verse 15 down to 17 to show what Moses, who was the first leader of Israel coming out of Egypt. Now, you know Moses was black. If Moses was black, we know all the people was black. We ain't gonna play silly here. We know Moses lived with Pharaoh. He lived as the son of Pharaoh's daughter. So we know he was black in all his people. So let's see what this black man asked God to do. Read that, Numbers 27. Let's read 15 down to 17.
Numbers 27, verse 15. And Moses spake unto the Lord, saying, Let the Lord, the God of the spirit of all flesh, set a man over the congregation.
Set a man over the congregation. Set a man over the people to do what? Read on.
Which may go out before them, and which may go in before them, and which may lead them out, and which may bring them in.
Which may lead them. You see what Moses is telling God? Set a man over the people that may lead them. Read on.
And which may bring them in, that the congregation of the Lord be not as sheep which have no shepherd.
There you go. That's where we are today as a people. We look for external sources instead of biblical guidance to lead us to come in before God and present ourselves before God, and we think that if we have somebody set over us, that they're going to lead us wrong. Well, the people that have the interests of this world as their first stake, they're always going to lead you wrong. That's why it has to take a man of God that knows the will of God, knows how God wants to lead his people, and he's supposed to be set over you, because why? He's going to listen to God. So I hope you understand that, Tangi. The reason why the people ask for a king is so they can be like the nations that were round about them, and they can listen to him instead of listening to God.
I understand
Hey,
that. I
hey,
understand that. And, I think that also just considers also people wanted to choose. It seems like a leader was kind of given to them, and then people wanted to choose their own leader too. So
Yeah,
I'm not saying that there shouldn't be a leader, but I wanted to put that out there because I did see that, and that's how I took it in.
right.
But
And that's why we try to clear it up for you, just so you can understand.
But the other text definitely helped.
Okay, good.
hey,
Go ahead, Dion,
I
real
know,
quick before we
yeah,
move on to
I know you want to move.
Tanya.
Yeah, I know you want to move on, so I'll be very quick. It's good. I'm glad that Sister Tangi brought up that point, and the brothers were able to go in depth with a few precepts and then understanding of it, because it goes perfectly with the title of Black people and black people and broken families. What's the solution? the fact that the sister brought that up, it steers us to another point. Without the proper guidance in individual households, we can't have the strong family structure that we need. And it starts as on a micro level within the household of the man and how he guides his house and has his house in order according to the commandments. But real quick, I just want to show you when the man's not in the household, what ends up happening when the Most High took away our leaders. Real quick, Isaiah 3:1. I'll go through this really fast. I won't be long explaining it. Isaiah 3:1, let's read 1 and 2, and then read 5 and 12.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 3, verse 1. For behold, the Lord of hosts, doth take away from Jerusalem and from Judah the stay and the staff, and the whole stay of bread, and the whole stay of water.
Go ahead.
And the mighty man, and the man of war, the judge, and the prophet, the prudent, and the ancient.
So the Lord took away all of our men of understanding, our mighty men, our warriors, our leaders, our government, right? He took all that away from us, from Jerusalem at this particular time. Go ahead. Did you finish that?
Verse 3. The captain of 50, and the honorable man, and the counselor, and the cunning artificer, and the eloquent orator.
So you may look around in our communities today and be like, damn, that's kind of sound like our community today. We don't really have that true guidance or leadership within our communities, within the politics, within the school system, within the pastors at these churches, these Muslim mosques, so on and so forth. We don't have this same thing. It seems like the Lord has done this same thing in these last days, but we don't have these men to be able to look up to that can help guide our communities. And that's when we have a broken family. The Lord took it away. When he took it away at that time, you're going to see in just a moment how bad it got. Keep reading.
Verse 4. And I will give children to be their princes, and babes shall rule over them.
You hear that? It said he gave children to be our princes. So because the older men were taken out of the way, then now the young men would try to step up and try to lead in some way, shape, or form without the proper guidance in the first place to teach them how to properly lead, right? And that's that ripple effect that goes to the black community now. And that's the reason our families are broken now, because now we got children trying to lead other children. We got young men having children at 15 years old, 16 years old. He's in no position to be a father, to be a husband. His mind not even on that. You understand? He's not even doesn't even have the what's the word? He hadn't even gone through an adolescent life yet. He didn't have the wisdom to even be able to do these things. But now this is what we succumb to in the black community. Now children are trying to guide our people, right? And you see what's happening in our communities: murder, drug dealing, so on and so forth, homosexuality, skinny jeans. You know what I'm saying? Same thing that E was just bringing out. Did you finish that part? Verse 5? Did you finish 5?
Verse 5. And the people shall be oppressed, every one by another, and every one by his neighbor. The child shall behave himself proudly against the ancient, and the base against the honorable.
So you can't tell me the Bible is in a book of prophecy and it ain't true. Because exactly what the title of what we're going over right now. Black people and broken family, what's the solution? God says, when I take away your mighty men and your ancient men and your counselors and your righteous men, these are the things that are going to happen. Now you're going to be oppressed by your own brother and sister in your own communities, right? And not only that, you're going to have children disrespecting the aged men and women of the community because they don't respect them because they haven't been taught properly. Now read verse 12.
Verse 12. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy path.
So when the Lord took our judges away, not only did our children have to stand up and try to lead in some way, shape, or form, although they didn't have the proper guidance, then the woman now has to take the role that was not set for her from the beginning. Her role was to assist and be a helpmeet to the man who was the leader. But because the Most High took that all away from us because of our disobedience, now the woman has a role and take on the weight of the world, or be put in a position that she was never meant for. She's not physically meant for it. She's not spiritually or mentally meant for it. But now she's been forced to do it, because the Lord has taken our mighty men out of the way because of our disobedience. So the solution right here is in the scripture. The Most High now has to restore those men, and that's what he's doing on this platform tonight, to give you the solutions out of the Bible to get our nation back in order, to bring back the family. That's what it all boils down to. So I'm in my mic. I know we're going to move on to you.
All right,
Mhm.
all right. Heavy points
Yeah.
there. All right. So, Sister Tanya, what's your thoughts on what's a reason the black family is broken?
Hi, everybody. Well, being a product of this, I feel like I can speak on it, but I think interracial marriage or interracial relationships is another reason.
You gonna upset a lot
Because,
of people with that, sis.
well, I am, and I'm saying that because again, my mother's, even my father's Israelite from the tribe of Judah. I had a hard time, to be honest, in the beginning, receiving the truth because of my mother, and it was hard for me, and even still to this day. Not that I struggle in it, but there are certain things sometimes that I have to renew my mind in, I guess is what I'm saying. So interracial marriage, I think, is a big downfall in our community, Black community, because it does keep us, the other nations keep us from the Most High. That's why the Most High told us don't do it in the first place. So I've seen it myself. Also, a lot in my home, my mother led, whereas that's not the right way. And so that was a struggle for me too, the reversal of roles, because that's how I was raised. So
A lot of people don't see that don't see that interracial marriage is a way to destroy the fabric of a nation, but guarantee these other nations know that it is. That's why, if anybody, I don't know, maybe some of the brothers might know, even some of the sisters may have heard before, that them white girls in college, they are all taught, don't bring a nigga home to daddy. You can do whatever you want to with him in college, whatever. You can sleep with the daggone star football player, but if he doesn't make it to the NFL, the NBA, do not bring him home to your father. And that destroys the Black community. Go ahead, Sister. You wanted to say something else?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say absolutely. I mean, just in my own situation, my mother told me my mother got pregnant with me at 15. My aunt, her sister, was pregnant at 16. My cousin and I are 4 months apart, so both of them were in the home with their white parents, pregnant by Black men, both of them at 15 and 16 years old.
Shit,
And
their parents were pissed.
Oh, yes. And so, of course, there was talks of abortions. Luckily, my mother and my aunt were against it, and they said they weren't. My mom ended up meeting the father. So my father who raised me is not my father. He's an Israelite also. But I was 6 months old. But anyway, she married him at the age of 16 because she had to get out of her parents' house. She had to go somewhere. So they ended up getting married. And they've been together they've been together 44 years. So, but yeah, that was definitely an issue. You're talking about back in the 70s at that, 2 white girls coming home pregnant by 2 Black men that were older than them at that. So interracial marriage, definitely a breakdown.
Good point right there. I'm telling you, these. Go ahead, Benjamin. Oh, go ahead. E.
Hey, didn't that dude that blew up that owner, George, what's his name? He said, "I'm been no niggas in my game." To that black girl,
he was the Clippers owner.
Donald Sterling. That dude said, "Don't you listen. You can hang out with them. Just don't bring them niggas to my game. Don't bring the niggas to my games. You can be friends with them. You can be friends with them, but just it's the same thing in the house." I think that's also what Tanya was saying as well. Yeah, so these things are said behind closed doors, and people and Black folks don't mind them being said behind closed doors. But it's still, the problem is they're still being said. But
Yeah,
Charles, I don't hear
they are. Not to interrupt you, I'm sorry, but now it's another thing. So growing up, I would say I was closer to my Black side of the family, just because I related to that more. I've had people say to me in jobs. I had a boss once not long ago say to me, why don't you use the black and the white emoji for my thumbs up? And I'm like, does society see me as white? Because when you look at me, I don't look white. So, but anyway, the point I'm bringing is that growing up, I didn't know or even really experience what I would say as prejudice or racial injustice towards myself. But as now that I'm older, I have definitely experienced it, and even in my own family, I didn't see that like the white side of my family. Even though I've heard the stories that my mom told me, but I saw what I thought was love from my grandparents and my white side of the family. But now, especially now that I'm in the truth, the separation has been immense, and I can feel the difference, and even how like they don't deal with me no more. They don't talk to me. My grandmother even said some really horrible things and treated my mom and my dad terribly behind some things. And basically my point is that I now see what the Most High says is that it doesn't matter. It's in their heart. So I could have grown up thinking that my grandparents loved me, but in their heart they did not. And now as an adult, I actually saw that. So.
Right. I believe J. Cole himself, he said the same thing. He's also of so-called mixed heritage. He himself said that he does not gravitate to his white side. He leans more to his black side. And he's treated as the black side, not the white side. So he relates to what Tanya is saying as well. We're kind of taking a turn from this, but it still goes to the same thing in terms of broken homes. When you examine a lot of our people who go that route, 85%, based upon statistics, 85% of black men marry their own women. So people say, oh, black men are leaving their own women and going with white girls. It's a lie. 85% of us marry our own. I married my own. Many of us up on the stage are married to our own. And the small percentage of them that do marry outside of their own are usually the ones who are like pretty much like have status, have money, they're well off. They're the ones that usually stray off. With the ones who are, what you would call average or, make a decent living, middle class or average class, whatever, low class, whatever, they usually stay loyal to their own. So the narrative also by the media pushes, if I can, first Ezra real fast, if I can, the media pushes another form of division for black families is saying that black men are not loyal to their own women, or you'll hear vice versa, black women are loyal to their men. Black women primarily marry their own as well. And a small fraction of them tend to marry outside their own. Black men are racially loyal. The most racially disloyal are Asian women or white men. Those are most racially disloyal based upon statistics. We get First Ezra 5:72. This goes back to black families being destroyed based upon media and propaganda and things of that nature. You watch the billboards, you see these billboards, they show black women and white men. I think the comedian Godfrey he was in Brooklyn, like in a freaking hood over there somewhere, Bed-Stuy somewhere, big ass billboard of a white guy and a black girl. He's like, what the hell is this? I can see this is downtown or in a gentrified area, but you got a sign of a sister and a white dude on a billboard in the ghetto. What you trying to say? They don't need us? So he kind of took offense to that. So he's in the industry, so he sees these things, and he's got, when you're a comedian, you got to be very observant and pay attention to things. So, and if you're in the Bible, you also learn to be observant and pay attention to things as well. First Ezra 5, real quick.
First Ezra, chapter 5 and verse 72.
Now, verse 71 goes into what the heathen are doing. So the context is what the other nations outside our own, or the ruling powers that be, the superior ones, the so-called superior ones that be over us today. You ready? Watch this. So-called superior, not real. Go ahead.
But the heathen of the land, lying heavy upon the inhabitants of Judea, and holding them straight, hindered their building. And by their secret plots and popular persuasions and commotions.
Right, hold on. There's secret plots. There's secret plots. Secret plots goes into a variety of things. It goes into the media. It goes into the medical apartheid. Some of you don't know about that. You have, like, for example, Sims. He was the first gynecologist. He was the one that figured out how to work through the vagina by pretty much experimenting on our sisters without anesthesia, ripping them open. He killed hundreds of our babies. He would nail things to their heads and their skulls. He believed that black people feel no pain. I believe in the medical field, it's still pushed that black folks don't feel much pain as white folks do. We have a high pain level. That's medical apartheid. You also have Planned Parenthood as well, which was founded by, what's her name?
Margaret Sanger.
Margaret Sanger, who was a heavy racist eugenics program. And going back to what Tanya was saying, you had children called the brown babies in Germany when a lot of the black men were shipped over in World War II, fighting the war. You started having a lot of sex with the German women over there. and they began to sterilize them. And they took that program of sterilizing white girls to keep from having nigger babies and brought it into, and they called it the American Abortion League. That's sounded too forward, so let's call it Planned Parenthood. And those are placed in poor areas, low income areas, to further. I mean, there's different reasons for Planned Parenthood, but it's targeted in black areas to help us further destroy our children. Because since the abortion rate among our citizens is very, very high. So that's a secret plot as well, along with the image destruction, the ethnic imaging of our people, how it's seen on movies, how it's seen in music videos, how it portrayed, how every movie we're in, we're either a gangster or a comedian, nothing really honorable. Black Panthers are the most honorable I've seen in us in movies. It's very rare. Or we're freaking vampires or some other nonsense. So this is all secret plots to destroy the black family, to ruin the black man's image, so that the black woman doesn't see him as a leader or as a king or a god at all. He's just another nigga or a comic or a ball player. That's all secret plots. So Rush, this, read on.
And by their secret plots and popular persuasions.
Popular.
Say it again, E. We didn't hear your last part. You said popular what?
Popular
Hello?
persuasion.
Yeah. And popular persuasions. I'm sorry. You hear me?
Yeah,
And
we can
popular
hear you now.
persuasions. Popular persuasions is media. That's media. That's TV. That's your radio. That's your sports. That's all these things is popular persuasions. Politics, fashion. Persuasion is something that's used to do what? To seduce, to grab your attention. Media, social media, TikTok, Instagram, OnlyFans, all these different outlets, all these things you use. It's all go back to secret plots, because you have think tanks. They sit around and they think, what can we do to make these niggas spend their money? We know that women spend more money than them. The biggest consumers are black women, so we must gravitate to them. We got to make them spend more money because they're the biggest consumers. So if we can use them, if we can turn them against their men, that's good. They'll be against their men, and they'll keep spending money on our stuff. That's what they'll do. They won't support their men. They'll support us and push more money into our Birkin bags and our Louis Vuitton and our Dolce & Gabbana, whatever. So we're going to make sure that we drive a long, strong line between the black man and his woman, because the black woman, we're going to put her in high status positions, supervisor positions where she's over the man so she feels superior. We're going to push feminism. We're going to masculinize the women, make them act more gangster. We're going to feminize the boys. They can wear skinny ass pants and act like girls and dress like girls and make that fashionable. That's how they destroy the black family. Yes, because Europeans, that's normal. Walking around with makeup and all, that's normal for them. That Eurocentric stuff, that's normal for them. But that wasn't for us. But these are all secret plots and popular persuasions. Go ahead. Read on.
And commotions.
And commotions, go ahead.
They hindered the finishing of the building all the time that King Cyrus lived.
Right. These things hindered Israel, because at this time we were trying to rebuild our land, trying to rebuild ourselves. So they did all these different things. He did all these different things to keep Israel from building themselves up again. And they're doing it again today with all these different media platforms. So I'm my mic. Thank you.
I was going to add too, and it's not just on the platform of black men dating white women. It's now black women dating white men. And to bring up, to piggy up Brother E about the media and television. I mean, almost every television show that I watch has 10 storylines of interracial marriage of some or relationships where the sisters out there being whored around with 10 different white guys. And so it's out there, and they're pushing that agenda really strong on us, as well as the homosexual, which I was going to get into that. Again, somebody else bring that up as one of the things, this feminist movement.
Good point, because I've noticed it too, and a lot of you all just open your spiritual eye, and a lot of these commercials, they are flashing black women with black men. You hardly, if ever, see black men with white women. So they're trying to destroy the family, the black family, through pushing positive images of it's better on the other side than where you are. And that over time will destroy a black family.
Yes, and not to mention, because a lot of, hear me out here. The stereotype of a black man, it's hard to get along with them sometimes. They don't treat us as good. So they think going to another nation or to a white man, they're going to get that from them. I've seen white men treat women like trash.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah. So it's not, that's just a misconception that we have. But it's definitely now being turned around and they're pushing more the sisters, trying to push them to get with white men, whereas before, like I'm from the 90s, so it was like a trophy on your arm if you had a white girl on your arm if he was a black guy. So, and now it's like that's still being pushed, but it now also is on the black woman, like go get a white man. He'll treat you so much better.
Good point there. Hey, real quick before we move on to Sister Candace, I wanted to get Ezra chapter 9. This is the Old Testament, because that interracial marriage and destroying the structure of a nation, that's nothing new dealing with black people. Before we was called African Americans and Jamaicans, when we knew that we were the Israelites and who we was when we was in our own land, we suffered from this, and God made mention of it in Ezra chapter 9. Read that for me, Buka.
What verse, sir? Verse 12?
Verse 12.
Ezra chapter 9, verse 12. Now therefore, give not your daughters unto their sons, neither take their daughters unto your sons, nor seek their peace or their wealth forever, that ye may be strong, and eat the good of the land, and leave it for an inheritance to your children forever.
Now you see, there it goes. That's what God said. Don't marry their man, and you man don't marry their women. Don't even seek their peace. Stay to yourself or their wealth, because we mentioned that earlier. How I think it was Michael talking about assimilation, and we mentioned how we'll betray one another for their wealth. We betray each other as a people, and it breaks our family. It breaks the black nation apart. God says, it says, if we do not marry their people, just in that context, it says that ye may be strong. Now you see why we've been broken down to where black people, Hispanic people are on the bottom of the totem pole as a nation, is because a lot of us marry outside of our race. Not all, but some of us marry outside of our race. We look at media, as E was bringing out, with the propaganda, where we think is the grass is greener on the other side. That weakens a nation to the point where you break apart and you're no longer strong as a nation when you start marrying their man, and your man start marrying their women. That's biblical. All right, let's move on here to Sister Candace.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, Sister Candace. So what's your
Yeah.
thoughts? What's one of the ways that the black family is broken in 2021?
A lot of the brothers hit on what I was going to share on Dion and Michael and E. It's the father, the black man out of the family, right? So, and it's a lot of things that I've been learning over the years of, I don't like to get into the white black thing, but it is real. So when we talk about employment, right, we have our black women making salaries that are, 3 to 4 times to 5 times higher than the men that we love and are supposed to be submissive to and respect. But how can you respect, your man when you're in the place with that financial income, right? And I think that's why a lot of things are backwards. Some of us black women, think we don't need a man. We have a lot of single mothers out here. But, not having that leadership is everything. And also the guide, to me, is the Bible, right? But, you have to have somebody to teach in the home. If you don't have that structure, you don't have that discipline, you have chaos. So, but that's my answer.
Say something about that.
Yeah. Go ahead, Pentecost.
Abuka, can you get me Jeremiah chapter 44 and read verse 15? And one thing that you said, sis, Candice, that a lot of women do is that, because they feel like they've made it in a society that they have no respect for men, for our men, our black men and Hispanic men, and that's actually biblical, because there's nothing new under the sun. Read Jeremiah chapter 44, verse 15.
Jeremiah chapter 44, verse 15. Then all the men which knew that their wives had burnt incense unto other gods, and all the women that stood by, a great multitude, even all the people that dwelt in the land of Egypt, in Pathros, answered Jeremiah, saying,
So there was so just to give it context, it was sacrificing to idols was going on. So Jeremiah came, he started speaking to the men and the women. Read verse 17.
verse 17. But we will certainly do whatsoever thing goeth forth.
Read verse 16 and 17.
Verse 16. As for the word that thou hast spoken unto us in the name of the Lord, we will not hearken unto thee.
So just like us today, right? We bring out a lot of scriptures what God is saying. God says the man is the leader, man has the guide, man is the head of the woman. Our people don't want to listen. It's especially some of our sisters in society who feel like they've made it. Babylon, which is this kingdom, America has given them away that they don't need a man. They don't need a husband. I could do battle by myself. I don't need you. I'm good. I'm independent. Read verse 17.
Verse 17. But we will certainly do whatsoever thing goeth forth out of our own mouth
They said
to
they're gonna
burn.
do whatever thought they have. They're gonna fulfill it. They're gonna do exactly what they want to do. It's just like today. We tell our sisters, "Look, sister, dress modestly. You cannot find a good husband when you dress like that." They say, "I don't want to hear that. I'm gonna dress in modest. I'm gonna show my body. I'm gonna whore out my body." And then at the end, 16 years later, 10 years later, that's when I'm going to understand. Damn, I made a mistake. Read.
To burn incense unto the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto her, as we have done, we and our fathers, and our kings, and our princes, in the cities of Judah, and in the streets of Jerusalem. For then we had plenty of victuals, and were well, and saw no evil.
So it's the same thing. Victuals is abundance of stuff, right? They're basically saying we're not going to stop sacrificing to the Queen of Heaven in today's time. We're not going to stop following Babylon, which is America. We're not going to stop following America's ways because America has put us up. We have a lot of jobs. We a lot of our sisters say we make more money than the men. We have more degrees. A lot of our sisters think that they're they're too high. Like their men are below them because of their degrees, their PhDs and stuff like that. So they say ever since we got involved in society, we got assimilated into America's ways. We don't see the evil. We don't get shot. Nah, there's none of this happening. There's no black people in prison. No black men in prison. No, they're at ease. Read verse 18.
Verse 18. But since we left off to burn incense to the Queen of Heaven, and to pour drink offerings unto her, we have wanted all things, and we have been consumed by the sword and by famine.
And that's the problem right there. A lot of our sisters, they say, I'm going to follow America's ways because America's ways treat me better than a black man can. I'm not going to stop doing that. So that goes exactly with what you were saying. There's nothing new under the sun. Our sisters' mindset has to change. I mean, my mic.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a heavy point that the sister made. I went to high school with a female that said, "Hey, if I make more than $15 an hour, I'm talking back." So that in and
Oh,
of
broke
itself
ass.
shows, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like for real, like that's the mindset of a lot of our people. Like when you look at it, they're not even seeing the destruction that they're doing mentally to their own men. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll listen to a broke white man in a minute. You know what I'm saying? And then take the biggest dump in the world on a broke black man or a black man that makes less than them.
Oh yeah,
You know what I'm
no
saying?
doubt about it. Yeah, they respect that,
And I believe
that
it's
white
systematic, brothers, too.
I
man
You
can
in the
be
Matrix, Z?
working. He can be a super and he get. I'm in the Matrix. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Oh,
Can you hear me?
yeah, you good now. You good
How's
now.
that? Okay, so that white man could be a supervisor at McDonald's and get the utmost respect out of in the world, and the black man, he got to
Hmm.
make $75,000, 25,000 more than her for her to even think about listening to him in the household. That's crazy when I be hearing stuff like that.
Hey, hey,
That's crazy.
Z, Z, you notice that the white dudes always hit the most baddest black women, and the black dudes hit the most busted, fattest, most blobby, Jabba
Ugh,
the Hutt looking white women.
ugh.
You
I
never
want
seen that
to
before?
marry me a beautiful, big, white Australian white woman. A big one. 350 pounds. Big white woman.
I just wanted to
Yeah,
make one
man.
last point, brothers. Also, a problem, the abortions, right? So, I think it was the census that was taken this year. The black race had the lowest amount of children born because it's so many abortions. That's another whole subject, but you know,
Don't
All
get
right,
us
well,
our
started.
our
that's the same
culture is being
subject. That's the
Don't
same
get us
subject.
started.
You don't get
the base.
started because you're gonna open a can of worms, man. I'm
I'm
telling
not.
you.
I'm not saying what I'm saying is that if we don't want to become extinct, right? It's just the same on interracial marriage. You know, we have to keep bringing our black children into the world safely. Thank you.
Good points. Appreciate it.
good
Good
point.
points.
I would like to bring a point to, and it's like the absence of commitment of what the marriage means. What is respect your marriage? What is respect your woman? What is respect your man? I think that is being like completely lost in the black community.
Yeah, yeah. Black
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Hispanic community, sis. You right. Respect. Good point. All right. We've been going over now. I wanted to break this out. I wanted to see this now. We stayed on the same vein here. Now, don't all talk at once because I know you're gonna unmute your mics here.
Yo, Z,
Who's
I'm scared.
responsible?
Z, wait. Hang on a second. It's going
I
too
gotta
well,
bring it out,
man.
E.
It's going
I
too
gotta
well. I'm
bring it out.
scared, man. All right,
We
I'm gonna
can't
be
run
quiet.
from
Go
it.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So we've been talking about the ways the black family been destroyed. So
Hey, Z, Z,
who's
Z,
played?
Z.
Yeah,
Before you ask it,
go
remember
ahead.
the answers were there's no leadership in the home. Uh,
Right.
the black man isn't present. The interracial
Assimilation. There
marriages,
was a lot of assimilation.
assimilation,
Yeah,
no leadership.
all of
So
that stuff.
those were the answers that were said. So
So here's the question I pose to the panel now. Who's played a bigger role in the family being broken, man or women?
Definitely for
Ooh,
me,
that's
the
a
man.
good one.
all right.
Yeah, we gonna break
Oh
the smoke
God.
tonight. So
Hey,
who's
so
been
look,
more responsible for the broken family?
so
The
look, we go.
man or the woman?
This
We
is
gonna
Tanya.
hold on.
Can
Wait,
I
wait,
speak
wait,
on
wait,
that
wait,
one?
wait, wait,
Oh,
wait, 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 wait. Because like he said, like Z said, we know we're gonna have a lot of people unmuted, but we still have people in the queue that haven't gotten a chance to answer. So maybe the people in the queue can answer that question for us. All right.
now let's see.
So
Before we got some guidelines, you can only pick one or the other. You can't play the middle ground. You can't be No, it's one or the other. Man, God made male and female in the beginning. He didn't make no damn gender fluids. He didn't make no daggone binaries and whatever you want they say today. You got one responsible for the destruction of the broken families today.
Hi, everybody.
Beautiful flower.
Yes,
Hello, how you doing?
I'm okay. Thank you, Braibuka, for bringing me up. I think Black people and broken families.
You gotta
What's
pick
the
one, sis. You gotta